Fantastic Four First Steps is finally here. It has some really good aspects in it that I can't wait to talk about, like how this has some of the MCU's best visuals, and some aspects that I wish were better, like in terms of character arcs and story. But in the end, I liked it more than not. Right off the bat, everyone in this movie is amazing, alright? I think the cast is great. But I love my heroines, alright? Wanda is my #1 in the MCU. So let me just say, Susan Storm, welcome to the Witch Atlas Hall of Divas, Icons, and Mothers. In this hall, you will learn that there are thousands of us who will take a bullet for you. Vanessa Kirby, come through. Elizabeth Olsen will give you the pamphlet. Katherine Hahn will give you the orientation. She has a PowerPoint. Welcome, Queen. But what a year it's been for superhero movies, am I right? I mean, yes, Captain America Brave New World came out this year, and that wasn't very impressive. You know, we'll just smile politely and nod at Captain America Brave New World. But Thunderbolts? That was an all-timer for the genre. I know she flopped, but in my heart, she's a hit. And Superman? That's a modern classic in the making. Now here we are, Fantastic Four First Steps. I have 3 main points that I want to get through. 1, the stunning visuals. 2, the perfect dynamic of the cast and the characters. And 3, the story. I have good things about the movie that I want to praise, and I have things that I'm a little bit more critical about. Let's get into it. Please be warned, there will be spoilers. For a quick plot rundown, this movie takes place in its own universe, Earth 838. It's this lovely retro-futuristic setting, and in this one, the Fantastic Four are beloved superheroes. They are the protectors of the Earth.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Trouble starts when the Silver Surfer appears to herald the arrival of Galactus, who is here to eat the planet because he's got a big stomach and he's got big bones. The Fantastic Four try to stop Galactus, and it all escalates when it's revealed that Galactus also wants Susan and Reed's baby. Fun things happen, hilarity ensues. First things first, the stunning visuals. I have 2 very important things to say about the imagery in Fantastic Four First Steps. 1 is that it's some of the most stellar, incredible imagery that Marvel has ever put on screen. And 2, suspicious CGI baby. 1, some of the most visually captivating MCU imagery. I am so on board Marvel's decision to set this movie in its own universe. I know part of the reason behind that decision is to make this a self-contained story. Some people were complaining about the recent interconnected releases. Not me though, not me, let me make that clear. But setting this story in its own universe also allowed the creative team to really cultivate its own unique aesthetic. The costumes, the sets, the color palette, they give the movie such a charming and cohesive visual identity. The movie looks good, but the standout moment really is the sequence when the Fantastic Four go up to space to meet Galactus for the first time. Again, I really like the aesthetic of the whole movie, and I think the entire thing looks pretty, but that sequence just looked so elevated, and it was just visually on a league of its own. That sequence is the one that gave me the most captivating, most compelling visuals in the entire MCU so far. Those visuals, those shots, perfectly convey the cosmic horror that surrounds Galactus as a cosmic entity that's older than the Earth. The scale, the color palette, the gunmetal grays against the burning red, the art direction in that sequence. You know, a big reason why I really love it is because it's so reminiscent of the first Alien movie. Remember when the crew went down to inspect the engineer's derelict spacecraft? Those visuals really reminded me of that, and they really evoked that sense of cosmic horror, of the unknown. Giger's work was definitely an inspiration, and I loved it. That entire sequence, from the moment the team gets into the wormhole bubble, that faster than light bubble is so stunning, it's so pretty, to when we first see Galactus's ship just decimate an entire planet, the vastness of all of that, to the chase sequence with the Silver Surfer, when they trap her into a black hole, the visuals, out of this world, cosmically stunning, riveting. I also really like the team's costumes. At first, when we saw the leaks a while back, I wasn't very into them, but they've grown on me. They've really grown on me, and I adore them. They look really comfortable and cozy. Galactus' design is brilliant. Anything to do really with the cosmic side of things in this movie, I love. Galactus looks daunting and ancient. You know those images of really old sunken ships under the sea? He gave off that vibe. Silver Surfer 2 looked amazing. Shala Bal was so visually captivating. The CGI on her is a work of art. I just really like staring at her because her design and the craft that went into her was just so stunning. I feel like they struck a perfect pairing with the actress Julia Garner, with her performance and with the VFX work that went into the character, because the silver on her face, combined with how she acts, how she talks, how she moves, it's so mesmerizing. It's just completely mesmerizing, and I loved every bit of her in this movie. And then that brings us to the suspicious CGI baby. Yes, this movie gave me some of my favorite MCU visuals, but it also gave me that. Honestly, all it did was remind me of the other suspicious baby from Twilight from years ago. I understand understand that with the things they needed Franklin to do, they needed to use a CGI baby, but I wish they spent more time on it. The baby just looked really weird at times, especially when Ben was holding him. Also, again, I love the visuals, but I kinda wish the final fight gave us more in terms of variety for the visuals. That escape sequence from Galactus' ship was just such a high that I kinda just felt underwhelmed at the visuals for the final battle of the movie. It was like, come on, this is the final battle. Could we up it? I mean, you know, it wasn't bad, it was just not as good as that prior sequence. But anyway, stunning visuals all around. Now the characters. Before I continue, I just want to say if you're still enjoying this video, please consider leaving a like or a comment. I'm a small, tiny channel, and that would help me out a lot. Thank you. Maybe even subscribe. Everyone in this movie was cast perfectly, from the 4 leads to the 2 antagonists. Again, I especially really liked Julia Garner as a Silver Surfer. I thought she was amazing. Ben the Thing was wonderful as well. I so love the contrast between his rocky appearance and the sweetness in his voice and in his demeanor. With how Ben is portrayed in this movie, I would trust him with any secret. Loved him. Of course, I already mentioned Susan Storm, a standout for me. You know those moments when moms lift cars to save their babies? She essentially soloed Galactus to get her child back, and I was just, that was so fucking powerful. I was like, yeah, I did not expect this movie to give Sue her flowers like that. I didn't think that they would get her right like that, but they did. So when it happened, I was so shocked and I was so overwhelmed, but so happy about it. I felt like she was pushing me with her force field herself while that moment was happening. I was in my seat, just like, I was blown away. I was blown away and I loved it. Thank you, Matt Shackman. You've done Wanda well, and now you've done Susan really well as well. Thank you. Everyone in this movie was great. The movie really emphasizes the family dynamic of the team, and the cast has such an easy, familiar, and comfortable rapport with each other. It's so easy to see these people as an actual unit, as an actual family who care for and love each other. The MCU is kind of 2 for 2 when it comes for teams this year, so let's celebrate that. The Thunderbolts felt like a dysfunctional yet touching family, and now the Fantastic Four too. The Fantastic Four feel like a much healthier family than the Thunderbolts, but the family still. The Fantastic Four is a well-adjusted version of that family. And yeah, I'm so glad we got 2 really great teams in superhero movies this year. Well, 3 if we count the Justice Gang. I also appreciate that this movie made an effort to focus on everyone's contribution to the team, on everyone's capability outside of their superpowers. And that has both good and bad consequences. For the good consequences, Johnny, for example, was the one who decoded the Silver Surfer's language. I thought that was sweet, given how Johnny isn't really often portrayed in the movies and TV shows as a thinker. He's often more of a fighter. He's often given physical problems and actual physical fights rather than intellectual ones. So that was a fresh angle, and I liked seeing that fresh showcase of Johnny. Susan too, with her humanitarian and her peace brokering work. I liked seeing that, but also it looked like she was co-piloting the ship with Ben. Reed too, this movie really doubled down on his scientific mind and his intellect. And I liked that to a degree, but it did feel like in emphasizing Reed's intellect, they ended up neglecting showing more of his stretchy abilities. I'll talk about that more in a bit, but it's something that applies to the entire movie. In its effort to be more character-driven, in its effort to showcase the characters' capabilities outside of their powers, it ended up feeling like the movie forgot to adequately show them actually using their powers. It's so true for Reed and for Ben. Johnny at least got some sequences and Susan got to shine, so I loved that. But I really wanted to see the whole team showcase their power sets. I wanted to see Mr. Fantastic do fantastic things. His stretchy stretch was incredibly tame in this movie, and I really wanted more of it. I know a lot of people say and complain that the stretchy powers looks unrealistic and it's hard to pull off on screen, but I have never felt that way. I don't know, I think stretchy powers are just as believable as somebody flying or as somebody turning invisible. They never seemed goofy to me. I wanted to see more of it. For Ben, I did not get enough clobbering time. There was a clobbering minute, but I wanted more clobbering time. I wanted to see him beat shit up. But again, the characters not being able to showcase more of their powers is probably just the consequence of the film's attempts to focus more on character rather than action. And in concept, I love that. I agree with that principle. WandaVision was less action and more character driven. Loved it. Agatha all along did not have the budget to be action-oriented, and I'm glad for that, because that show was incredibly character-driven. And again, loved it so much. Thunderbolts had some action, yes, but that movie, again, was more character-driven, and I love it. It's probably my favorite MCU movie. There's nothing wrong with trying to focus more on character and less on action. I liked this movie. I liked Fantastic Four First Steps, and I enjoyed it. I just wish, because it chose to focus so much more on character, that the writing for the character development, the writing for the character arcs was better. If that was going to be your focus, then you should at least make sure that it's, you know, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not like, It was lacking, is what I'm trying to say, especially coming right after Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts had character done right. That movie had characters with internal struggles and had a really wonderful arc with them overcoming them. That movie was wonderfully character driven, especially coming right after Agatha All Along, especially, coming after Ironheart, by the way. That too had a wonderful, compelling character arc with Riri making, I love that girl, but she's made a lot of bad decisions, and it was a compelling, heartbreaking, wonderful, character driven story. And that is what we're going to talk about next. The story. This movie feels like it just happens. It feels like it's just, whoop. It goes by quickly, but it doesn't really feel like it goes on a journey that has extreme peaks and extreme valleys. Again, it wanted to focus on character, but it really feels like if you cut out a lot of the character-focused scenes, nothing much would change and nothing significant would be lost. Ben has a thing with a woman. It's like a potential love interest being set up. If you cut all of those scenes out, nothing significant about the movie would change. It doesn't really make Ben more human or more lovable. He's already incredibly humanized and lovable in his scenes with a Fantastic Four with his family. So including that setup with a love interest, it really didn't add anything to him. If you cut that out, again, nothing would change. Reed and Susan argue a lot, but it doesn't really feel like those arguments lead up to any significant story or character development. By the end of the movie, it doesn't feel like anybody changed. It doesn't feel like anybody learned anything. It didn't feel like the characters got better or got worse. They didn't really have clear or impactful arcs. In Thunderbolt, all of those losers feel alone because they shut people out, and throughout the course of the story, they learn to let each other in. They had an upward arc. In Ironheart, Riri makes one bad decision after another. There's an arc. It's not going upwards. It's kind of going downwards, but there's an arc. In this movie, I don't really feel like the Fantastic Four become closer. I don't feel like any character became a changed version of themselves. It feels like they're exactly who they are from the beginning to the end. Not better, not worse, not closer. I remembered after filming this video that Reed gave a speech to Franklin about him no longer trying to figure out who Franklin is and just waiting for Franklin to show himself when he's ready. And that could be an example of growth for Reed, but it's entirely spoken. Show don't tell is a storytelling rule for a reason. How does that growth in Reed's character manifest in the story? Outside of him telling us that he's grown, how does the movie show us that he's grown? It doesn't really. But that's just me. Again, I still like this movie. I liked it more than not. That space sequence was fantastic. Susan Storm got to shine, and that's really all I want. So, all this to just say, I wish the movie had more action sequences, because the two we got were great, and I know they wanted to focus less on action and more on character, but the character stuff wasn't as great, especially after the recent, more character-driven content that the MCU has put out. But what about you, though? What do you think? Do you disagree? I mean, again, I still love the movie, so we're on the same page. We're all fans here, and this is definitely still the right direction for the MCU. I hope they keep continuing down this road of character-driven stories. I'm not mad at that. I'm glad for that, and I love that principle. I agree with it. I mean, because so far, this is the first one that I found lacking. This is the first one that I found lacking, and it didn't even feel like it sucked, just lacked. I just wanted more. I wasn't bad, I just wanted more. Even after all of my complaints, I'm still very glad that this is the direction that they went with. Please continue this effort of making visually striking, character-driven superhero movies. We need more of that. Thank you. Please. Let's do that. Fantastic Four First Steps. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you also ever give birth in zero gravity while trying to turn your ship invisible because a silver naked lady was flying after you? Please tell me in the comments down below. I would like to know. I know I have given birth in zero gravity while trying to turn my ship invisible because a silver naked flying lady was after me. Those were the days. That's it for me. I'm out.